the absolute biggest mega moves for Bitcoin happen right after a similar consolidation pattern that we are currently about to exit, you guys. I'm going to show you 7 other times that this has happened on the chart over the past few years. Again, the absolute biggest explosions, the biggest percentage of moves with Bitcoin happen after we form the pattern that we are forming now. Wow, in day number 7 above this key line, we actually got a very quick wick last night, dropping from 9,900 to 9,600 in a matter of actual seconds, less than a few seconds. You can see where we got that bounce was right on this line. So is this bullish or bearish for Bitcoin, guys? Well, neutrality is still at an all-time high. And with that being said, Bitcoin price volatility hits a 3-month low, meaning we have been seeing the least amount of volatility that we've seen in about 3 months, and we want to get into some details about that because that is a very telling signal. On the weekly charts, when volatility is low, it means Bitcoin is about to go. Let's do this. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to an extremely web episode of Bitcoin. Guys, we say this a lot. I'm sure you've been hearing this all around YouTube, Twitter, TradingView, everywhere. It's about to get big, and we're going to show you on this chart 7 other times. This is on the weekly time frame, so this is pretty substantial. It's not like looking on 4-hour charts or 1-day charts or anything like that. These are pretty substantial signals, and every time Bitcoin does this, a massive move comes afterwards. So we're going to be taking a look at that and showing you some examples from the past. Guys, there is a lot we got to delve into. And as well, guys, we have a custom little outro at the end of this webisode, so make sure to stay tuned for that. But as well, guys, if we can just smash up to 1,500 likes on this webisode, we'll be giving away this nano in the next webisode. So just make sure to hit those comments, likes, turn on the dings, turn on subscribes, and we can get into the data. Wow, so if you guys were watching the charts last night, we were actually climbing up, actually approaching the $10K level. It was a slow climb, and a lot of people were watching the charts for about an hour, and then immediately on the minute candles, we got a very big rejection. Okay, so this is pretty big. So we can actually get into the chart and show you exactly this. This is on the minute chart. So you can see what was happening here. We can see here, this was about a period of about an hour and a half. We started around 9,700, and you can see we were slowly climbing, actually peaking at about 9,900 US dollars is where we peaked. And you guys can see this. This is a 1-minute candle. We went from 9,850 to, wow, look at this, 9,570. So multiple $100 instantly in a single minute candle. So clearly Bitcoin is still struggling to break that 10K level, but where we got that pullback to actually was at the very top of this line, which is the 2.5-year resistance still. Okay, so we got a nice little bounce there. You can see it was actually a pretty significant bounce. So 9,580 all the way up. Currently it's around like the $9,700 area. But overall, a pretty big move there. Wow, and you can see that on the daily chart as well. Got that pullback right to the top of this ascending line, you guys. There is going to be a massive move soon. And to illustrate that, I want to show you this weekly chart here. So this is on Bitstamp. Okay, every time we have a consolidation in a very tight range, like we are seeing now, with 9,700 being the weekly top, basically, where we keep getting these candle closes, right around like 9,700 US dollars. And 87 being the bottom of the past like 6 weeks. We've been squished in this $1,000 range for well over a month now. Now, every time we see sideways consolidation like this is exactly what precedes some of the biggest moves in cryptocurrency. Most of the price action for Bitcoin to the upside actually happens in very small time frames. So like less than 5% of the entire history of Bitcoin accounts for some of the biggest moves in Bitcoin. What I mean by that is, for the most part, in terms of percentages of time, Bitcoin is boring most of the time. The biggest explosive moves happen in a very consolidated, very short amount of time. So for example, we haven't gotten this breakout just yet because this is what we're talking about, but we can show some previous ones. So when we traded for about a month and a half back here at the end of 2019, that was preceded. This was the inverse head and shoulder actually right here. You can see it a little bit on the weekly chart. It was like this. This broke out pretty massively, okay, and you can see there was a very large amount of sideways trading there. And you can see that as well back here. There was about a month of sideways trading back in April, which was right before it preceded one of the biggest explosions in cryptocurrency in the past few years, actually going from 5,700 all the way to 14,000 US dollars. Same thing here. Now this was a bearish example, so again, it's not always bullish. It just means a huge move is most likely coming. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 over 2 months of consolidating right here. We talked about this in yesterday's video a little bit. Trading in about a $700 range for 2 months. If you think what we're going through now is boring, imagine trading in a $700 dollar period for over twice as long as we've currently been in this current sideways trading. And that was preceded by one of the biggest dumps, a 50% slash in like 3 weeks. 50% dump in 3 weeks right there, okay? So that was another huge one. You guys notice these biggest moves usually come right after some sideways consolidation. There was a little sideways consolidation for 3 weeks here before a massive move. Same here, was about 5 weeks. But specifically here, about a month and a half back in May of 2017, which really kicked off when Bitcoin was right around that $2,000 level. And this is actually right about, I actually got interested in Bitcoin a little bit before this. So I think I actually started getting invested into Bitcoin back here. Now you can see after that, we went on a nice sideways consolidation for a few months here, about 3 months where we did not do much, but then things got really explosive. Had a pretty big move, a little bit of retracement, but then things went completely parabolic the last few months of 2017. And then if we go back to the similar bear market of 2016, we can see a lot of sideways trading, especially on this 21-day or 21-week moving average, and then a very nice increase there. Same thing here. This was about 3 months of sideways consolidation right here before a pretty big pump there. What is this? Let's take a look at how much that was. That was about a 70%. Yeah, 76, let's say 75% increase. A similar percent increase now, 75%, would actually put us all the way up to over $17,000. So it may not look like a huge move on this chart right here, but that was actually, or this one right here, but that was actually 70%, which is pretty big. This one, even much bigger than that. We can take a look. This one was about, over 100% gains. So that would put us well above, 17, 18, 19,000 US dollars per Bitcoin. But the key factor is here that when it trades sideways like this, when it doesn't really do much and it gets boring, those are the setups that we get before the absolute biggest moves in cryptocurrency. There's not necessarily a bias depending on which way it's going to break, but it's just more an indication of there's about to be a really big move. And I actually want to jump into this first before we continue. So this was published on CoinDesk by Amkar Godbol, and it completely 100% relates to what I just said. It actually goes into a little detail here. So Bitcoin's price undulations become the calmest in 3 months since March of 2020. Talks about volatility declining. The only things I really want to say here, the decline in volatility may be associated with the lack of clear directional bias in the market, 100%. We talked about yesterday, it's pretty neutral right now, but Bitcoin rallied over 150% in the last 2 months after that massive drop. Since then, however, buyers have repeatedly failed to establish 10,000, and at the same time, downside has been restricted to 8,600. So Bitcoin has been in between 8,600 and 10,000, but more specifically, most of the time it's been between 8,700 and 9,700 over the past few weeks. That's where we've gotten all our weekly candle closes, and that's where most of the time has been spent. Now, finally here, a prolonged period of low volatility price consolidation often paves the way for a big move on either side. The longer the consolidation, the more violent is the breakout or breakdown. Okay, let me read that again. The longer the consolidation, the more violent the breakout or the breakdown is. So guys, as you can see here, 6 to 7 weeks, depending on if you count this one, we've been trading in this area, and there's definitely going to be a massive break soon. Now, I'm not here to tell you which way, and nobody knows. People saying they do, they know they don't know. Nobody knows exactly which way this is going to break out, but you need to be prepared for both scenarios. I will say this, a breakout here at the very top where we are right now of this pattern, a breakout here, I really highly doubt that we would ever see anything below $9,000 ever again. The only reason I say that is because if we do get a breakout here, I still anticipate there could be a pullback over the next month to kind of cement that, because when we have breakouts, usually there has to be a consolidation and a price support after a nice rally. But it really depends, because if it is a full-fledged bull market at a certain point, then you see, for the most part, sometimes it doesn't have to pull back too much. There always has to be pullbacks. You can even see on this massive run, the biggest bull run we've ever seen in Bitcoin that culminated in 20,000 US dollars. Along the way, let's go back to like here. Let's liken it to this. Here, pullback. Massive rally, pullback. Specifically, this was pulling back to the 21-week moving average, this blue line here. But you see massive rally, pullback. Same thing, pullback. So even in a bull market, there's still pretty substantial pullbacks. However, they're very short-lived, and that really is what dictates or identifies itself as a bull market. So huge. I definitely think, and this is unanimous across the board, I've been hearing a lot of people say this, guys, this sideways consolidation is just priming for a big move. And what's different than this one, than this time back in December, and also what's different from back here in April of 2019 and even October of 2018. The reason this time is different is because these aren't just sideways consolidations for the heck of it, right? This is the biggest sideways consolidation that we have seen for a reason, because we are now within the past 2.5 years of this entire much bigger pattern in a prime spot to explode one way or the other. Okay, when you look at this macro pattern, if we would take a zoom back and maybe go back to here, this isn't really that substantial. Like, even if we got a massive break, which we did, we traded sideways for weeks and then we got a massive break. Even though we did, we kind of used up all of momentum just to get to the top of this triangle. Now we're starting. This is like the start of the actual pattern. So if we get an actual breakout here, we could have plenty of juice to go on very, 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 very high there. So there is definitely going to be a massive breakout. Besides the fact, guys, that we're consolidating sideways, that's one thing. But again, besides the fact that we're at the peak of some of these longer term, extremely long-term patterns, is just yet another reason. It might be getting a little repetitive hearing everybody talk about this day after day, but very, very, very soon, we're not going to be able to talk about it because we're going to be in the middle of a breakout. And it sounds silly, but you're going to be wishing that you were watching these videos and preparing and doing what you need to do with your portfolio, whether you're buying or selling or getting ready for whatever. You would be wishing you were doing that now instead of, a day, 2-3 days from now when it's actually happening. Wow. So guys, make sure to smash up to 1,500 likes and we'll give away this ledger in the next webisode. And as well, for everybody in T4, you guys, we have updated these charts as well because we've been changing and just updating some of the technical analysis on a lot of these charts. If you want access to these, you guys, and as well any of these as well, all you have to do is enter the code JUNE. It's going to be our last sale of version 3 for T4 before we move on to T4 V4, T4 version 4. Absolutely massive. And as well, we do have a special outro for you guys today. So thanks so much for watching this webisode, and we will see you in the next one. And guys, one of these videos, we're going to wake up or experience it during the midday. There's going to be a massive, massive explosion. Leave your comment below. Do you think we're going up to $14,000 this week? Or do you think we are going down to 8,000, 7,000, even some of you mega bears, even down to 5,000 this week? Make sure to smash the comments and let me know. Peace!